What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Legitical Response. Now, before we get into the news today, I got an update for you guys. Yes, the corporate press actually followed through. Like, surprise, surprise. They normally don't do that, and it bugs the hell out of me because we get all these lawsuits, and then we never see the conclusion of some of these lawsuits. It's just absolutely crazy how they'll cover the lawsuit when it's advantageous for the corporate press to cover the lawsuit, but they won't cover the result of the damn lawsuit. But right quick, I was feeding through my scrolling of my news that I do every afternoon and found that RFK Jr. in both North Carolina and in Michigan coming off the ballot. Court said, nope, you're violating his First Amendment right. Got to take him off the ballot. Sorry. Stop what you're doing. Stop printing all these ballots. As a matter of fact, don't send them out. Print new ballot. Yeah, that's right. So we have yet to see what is going to take place in Wisconsin. So, yeah, we're seeing what's going on with that. But I figured I'd give you guys that quick update right quick because, like I said the other day, we get the first half of some of these stories, but we never get the rebuttal. We never get the finish. We never get the rest of the story. So, speaking of that, somebody who has been in the news a lot lately, at least on this channel, Ken Paxton is back in the news once again, folks. And like I said, this dude is doing the Lord's work over in Texas. He is outright amazing. That is a great story. But before we get into that, I had two articles I was wanting to cover for this segment that I was kind of fighting back and forth which one I wanted to do. So I'm going to cover the headline and talk about it right quick, and then cover Ken Paxton, because Ken Paxton is doing some really good work. And shout out to America First Legal for this story. Check this out, y'all. All 15 counties in Arizona sued over failure to remove non-citizens from voter rolls. That is right. America First Legal is on top of these people. Folks, Republicans, or at least some Republicans, have read the shadow campaign put out by Time Magazine. If you haven't read that or seen my video, it's going to show up right here at the end of this video. It shows up at every single video. Go watch that video. I need to redo it. I keep talking about redoing it, but I never do. But okay, so Republicans finally got wise to the shadow campaign and what it is, and they are absolutely on top of this garbage. Like I talk about the HAVV all the time, and I've sent multiple emails to multiple congressmen about this, and finally we're getting some results. America First Legal is cleaning these people up, right? Like they were suing each individual county, and when it's on a state level, you can't consolidate all, so he couldn't sue all of them in one big lawsuit. They had to file individual lawsuits, but the Maricopa County, they pushed it to federal court to try to delay the process for some reason, right? Like, why would you want to delay the process? Why not just clean up your freaking voter rolls and get it over with? Then you don't have to worry about lawsuit. You don't have to worry about taxpayer dollars going to fight off some legal troubles, which is insane. And it makes no sense. It doesn't benefit the taxpayer at all for them to take your tax dollars and use it to fight somebody that is suing them for them not doing their job. It's insane to me, but I wanted to throw that out there right quick just to get that out there because I wanted to cover this story, but it wasn't in-depth enough and blah, 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 blah. Plus, we've been covering Ken Paxton pretty heavily, so I wanted to get into that. So let's get into that right quick while I scroll through my phone and get back to the Texas. Check this out, y'all. Texas AG sues second county using taxpayer funds to pay voter registration firm run by progressive activists. This story is outright insane. Ken Paxton has been going hard at all these places and all these companies, outright companies, that are registering non-citizens to vote, or they're serving a function to register people to vote that makes absolutely no sense. And what I mean by that is Ken Paxton investigated and found that some of these companies were setting up booths outside of DMVs, right? Like, this is weird. To register people to vote. They were also offering driver's licenses and blah, 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 blah. You get it. But the fact is, they were registering people to vote right outside of the DMV. Now, In Texas, I don't know if it's like this in Louisiana, but in Texas, when you go to the DMV to renew your driver's license, you can register to vote. So why would a company set up a booth right outside of a DMV to register people to vote when they can just do that right inside when they go in there for anything? It doesn't matter whatever you go in there for, you can register to vote while you're there. So why would they do this? It makes absolutely no sense. And I guess Kim Paxton thought the same thing, so he investigated. Come to find out, they had 6,500 non-citizens on the voter rolls in some of these places. It's just crazy, but let's get into the story. Texas Attorney General Kim Paxton filed a lawsuit Friday to stop a county from using taxpayer dollars to pay a voter registration firm aligned with progressives to identify unregistered voters. So that's what they were doing. It's a progressive company. So once again, like I talked about in the shadow campaign, these people were going door to door, knocking on doors. They were targeting specifically Democrats to get Democrats to vote, to register to vote, and to vote by mail. It's insane. Travis County is allegedly illegally paying taxpayer dollars to Civic Government Solutions, a voter registration firm, to create a list of unregistered voters for the county, according to the lawsuit. Travis County, home of Austin, Texas, is solidly blue. And CGS CEO Jeremy Smith has made statements in the past that encourage people to vote for progressive candidates. Yeah, they're supposed to be nonpartisan when they do this, right? Like in the shadow campaign, when they talked about this, they said, blah, 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 this is supposed to be a bipartisan effort. But it wasn't a bipartisan effort. Come to find out, it was strictly one-sided, strictly a partisan effort. They only went to Democrats. They only changed the rules and laws around voting to benefit Democrats. And it was all about the universal mail-in voting, the absentee ballots, and all that garbage, the drop boxes. They were trying to drop security around some of this stuff. It was crazy. Once again, like I said, if you want to be informed on that, go watch the video that will appear right here at the end of my video. Go check it out, y'all. It's crazy. Travis County has blatantly violated Texas law by paying partisan actors to conduct unlawful identification efforts to track down people who are not registered to vote, Paxton said in a press release. Programs like this invite fraud and reduce public trust in our elections. We will stop them and any other county considering such programs. And there's a tweet. I'm going to call it a tweet because I'm tired of saying a post on X. That sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Let me know down in the comments. Yeah, it sounds ridiculous to me, so I'm going to stop saying that. Attorney General Kim Paxton sues Travis County over illegal use of taxpayer funds to hire a partisan organization to identify potentially unregistered voters. Yeah, that's craziness, y'all. Like, they're targeting people to register these people, right? Like, that's something I don't get. You're going to harass people. Hey, why don't you register to vote? Right? People know how to vote. Right? Put a commercial on TV or run some ads on YouTube. Hey, don't forget to go out and register to vote. You can do that. But when you target people, you get their information, you get their address and all this garbage, and then go to them to harass them to, hey, do you want to register to vote? I can register you right now. Vote for Joe Biden. It's like, no, stop doing that. That's partisan activism. And yeah, I think it's unlawful to do that, I believe. However, once again, Democrats changed the laws around that in 2020 to make it okay to do that, to make ballot harvesting legal in as many places as possible. It's crazy. And didn't notify the other side that's what they were doing. Of course, they didn't notify them until well after the fact, because I do believe that article came out in early 2022, well after the election. The Travis County Commissioner's Court approved the use of the firm on August 27th, with the contract extending to 2025, according to county documents. CGS has sent over 10 million mailers since 2018 and has registered 2 million voters, according to the lawsuit. Smith is also the CEO of Civitech, which describes itself as a progressive data startup, according to Axios. Civitech is listed as a registered contractor of CGS, with their goal being to drive support for progressive causes and candidates. And to register likely Democrat voters across the nation could be the key to securing Democratic victory in 2024, according to the lawsuit. Not investing now means not only will we lose some 2022 elections, this must be an old statement or something, but we will lose some 2024 elections and some 2026 elections because we haven't converted people now to become habitual voters. It has downstream impacts, Smith said on the Great Battlefield podcast in 2022. It's pernicious in multiple ways because the system we rely on does not show unregistered people, so the majority of our political efforts are accidentally leaving them out. Yeah, that's a nice way to put targeting people for activism. That's what you are doing, and you're illegally using taxpayer dollars to do so. Yeah, you can't do that, buddy. You cannot do that. And thank God for Ken Paxton looking into some of this garbage, because once again, when I covered that shadow campaign video, we talk about, like, what's the shadow campaign for 2024, right? Like, we already know about what they did. So we're going to be wary of anybody trying to change rules and change laws around voting. And as a matter of fact, once we all read that article out, because a lot of people obviously did, because, yeah, it's just insane. I still can't believe that Time Magazine printed that article, but obviously it made people aware of what Democrats do. It's more about procedure than about it is winning the argument. In other words, like I've stated before in the past, that Democrats have stopped trying to win the argument. That's why the Harris campaign didn't have any policy positions at all for like a month or so on their website, and didn't really state any policy positions whatsoever. She still doesn't really do that. Sure, she said a couple of things she's going to do, but it's all esoteric crap. Like, she's going to work on building up the middle class. Like, what does that actually mean? What policy are you going to implement that will have that result? In other words, like, it's just strange, if you will, what Kamala Harris is doing. They've stopped trying to win the argument, and what they do is they go to these election officials in these states and try to manipulate the procedure to get more pieces of paper instead of trying to win the argument. It's outright insane. And then you got Donald Trump over here. He's still, out there on the campaign trail at all these rallies talking about this policy and this policy and this policy and this policy. I just covered a story yesterday talking about he's going to hire Elon Musk into a new commission for government efficiency. I was ecstatic about this, because constantly I'm covering stories. Every time appropriations come up, I cover the stories. We got $1.7 trillion deficit spending going on by the government, and it's outright insane. And it's like, logically, how can any 435 congressmen, any of them, vote to spend in a deficit? It's crazy. And I just don't understand it. Like, how can you do this? How can you sleep at night knowing you're destroying the value of the dollar? You're burning the country down behind you. Like, what are you doing? And it's not just Democrats. Republicans vote for this garbage as well. It's ridiculous. Like, why don't you, if you have a budget, if Biden sends you a budget, right, or whoever the president is, even if it's Trump, I could care less. Somebody sends you a budget that's $1.7 trillion over what you take in. Send it back and tell them, hey, revise this with $1.7 trillion less, and then we'll sign it. Sure, no problem. But they don't do that. No, and then what they do, they take that appropriations, they take all those budget amendments and everything that's added, then they add their own pork to it. They add more to that. That's right, they want a project over here in San Francisco to build a statue of Nancy Pelosi. There you go. $10 million to build a statue of Nancy Pelosi. Oh, you need $33 million to build this park in Alabama. Go right ahead. And they all sign off on this garbage. Oh, we need to send $200 million to Pakistan for gender studies. Right? It's just insanity, if you ask me. But let's keep going, because I'm ranting, Paxton filed a lawsuit on Wednesday against Bexar County for allegedly sending out massive amounts of registration applications regardless of whether they were requested via a third-party vendor. Paxton warned that the program would potentially allow illegal immigrants to vote and invites election fraud. It is unlawful and reckless for counties to use taxpayer dollars to indiscriminately send voter registration forms with no consideration of the recipient's eligibility and without any statutory authority to do so, Paxton warned Bexar County in a Monday press release. These counties' attempts to do so after the Biden-Harris administration has allowed millions of criminal aliens to enter the country are especially troubling. Republican Texas Governor Greg Abbott announced Tuesday that the state found and purged more than 6,500 non-citizens from state voter rolls, with 1.1 million total names removed from the rolls, including dead people, those who have moved out of Texas, and people on the suspense list. Whatever the hell that is. What the hell is this suspense list? I wonder if that's a typo. I wonder if that was supposed to be suspend list. That's weird. Let me know in the comments if you know what a suspense list is. Sounds like a movie or something. Tracy Davis, vice president of marketing at CGS, told the Daily Caller News Foundation that they trust the county to reject an ineligible person if they attempt to use one of their forms to register. Davis said their process was no different from a traditional voter registration drive, and their mailing process simply streamlines the process. Right. Yeah, leave it up to them to make sure that there's no criminal aliens, right? Like, they get inundated with all these voter registrations. And you know what? In a lot of states, you don't require proof of citizenship to register to vote. I was shocked that when I went to register to vote, that all I needed was my damn driver's license. That's it. Driver's license. That was it. You know how easy it is for a criminal alien to get a driver's license? Yeah, it's pretty damn easy. So, yeah, when they take that in, Texas especially has a lot of Hispanic population. They have a very large Hispanic population, as a matter of fact. So they're going to have a lot of people's names on there. So, leaving it up to them, no, I'm sorry. That's a cop-out. You're trying to manipulate the system here and allow for ineligible voters to actually vote in federal elections, right? Like, we know it's probably not a very big number, but once again, we don't want these people voting in our elections to have a say on who's the president. They're not even supposed to freaking be here. And, once again, I'm going to rail on this right quick. The government subsidizes these people. It's insane. As a nonpartisan organization, our focus is solely on identifying and assisting unregistered individuals, Davis told the DCNF. We do not use demographic, political, or any other criteria. We simply segment records based on county and registration status. Yes. Good. Glad. Yeah, stop doing it. Stop using taxpayer dollars to register Democrats to vote. Right? You want to pay for it out of your own pocket? Go right ahead. That's fine. But using taxpayer dollars to do so, I do believe that's illegal, as Ken Paxton stated. But, this has been a big problem with Republicans. They don't have a very big voter registration drive, if you will. Democrats do. This is one reason why they win elections. They have millions of activists that get out there and go and canvass and go knock on doors, harass people. Hey, you want to vote by mail? You should vote by mail. Blah, 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 blah. It's called ballot harvesting, and it's garbage. They go to nursing homes, for crying out loud. Nursing homes where these people, a lot of them, are in deep, significant cognitive decline, and they get them to vote. Hey, you should vote for Biden. Yeah, they sway them. They're not supposed to do this, but this is what they do. Investigative reporting has uncovered this, as a matter of fact, and it was very pernicious in 2020. They did this a lot. But once again, like I said, this was one of the things that Trump was talking about, widespread fraud. just so happens he had no idea that Democrats changed the rules in some of these places to make that legal to do. So when it got to court, oh, no fraud here. We found no significant widespread fraud whatsoever. Hang on, it was fraud just a couple of months ago. So do you blame the guy for thinking this is fraud and for trying to call it out, for trying to investigate this? But no, the federal government doesn't think so. Now they're going after Trump, as we know. The January 6th, the election interference case, and all this garbage. It's ridiculous to me, and it's all insane. Reading through some of those indictments and reading through some of that garbage, they're twisting the justice system to serve their own political means, is what they're doing with that. And I think it's a travesty, and it's destroying this country, right? Like we talked about the Russian disinformation crap the other day from Tenet Media, with Russian state TV, RT, paying Tenet Media like $10 million to pay these other right-wing influencers for quote-unquote Russian disinformation, right? It's all ridiculous. It's all very ridiculous, even though these people had totally different outlooks on things. Like, none of it gave Russian disinformation whatsoever. Most of it is just people reading the news, right? Like, one of the podcasts that they paid for, licensed or whatever, mostly talks about just cultural stuff, right? And they talked about it was sowing division and all this other stuff, and it's just outright ridiculousness coming from these people. They latch on to anything that they can go after Russia for. It's insane. It is outright insane. But I think I've rambled on for long enough on this one, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comments section. That's all I got. I want to thank everybody for watching. Y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.